Hey, welcome in, guys. If you're out there, it's me, your girl, Jersey Love Steps or Stephanie. And wherever you find yourself at, just know that we're all human at the end of the day. Um, Pride will always set in, and we'll never be able to admit our flaws, but nobody can relate to us when we're like that. Oh, there's a little chipmunk here. I don't know if you guys can see him. Hi, buddy. Oh, he's got his little cheeks full. Oh, uh-oh. I thought he was gonna come up here. They are my favorite. Hey, Barry. Did you see the little chipmunk? They got their little cheeks full. Isn't this beautiful over here? I never know about this park. I wanted to make this message all day. Barry, I promise I'm gonna come over. I know you probably can. I know I can't count how many times on my hand that I messed up, but I know that people have done me wrong, and I had to forgive them. And people wronged me even when I was, innocent in a way, but I still had to forgive them. But when somebody had did something to really try to hurt me, I forgave them in a sense. I forgave them, but I didn't. I put up that wall. I don't allow that. I don't allow that continue. You know what I'm saying? We have to protect ourselves. It's not that we forgive and then just allow somebody to walk on us as a doormat. But just know that we're all human. So Alexander Hamilton um, he's the 85th and the last of the Federalist Papers. Okay, I'm reading this from this was Federalist number 85, whatever that means. This was concluding remarks. It's in English. The language was in English. He says, I can't find the thing. Oh, it's an essay. But in it, he says, I can't, I can't find that thing. Let me see. I never. Okay, let's see. Okay, so what does the quote? Okay, so in the Federalist paper in 85, Alexander Alexander Hamilton, the president, says, "I never expect to see a perfect work from an imperfect man, which means we're all imperfect. Okay, artificial intelligence, it's artificially made, so you don't have to fear artificial intelligence. They get basically you could look on the video and it will summarize, the video, but basically it's picking up information that is in the video itself. It's not making something up. It's taking the information that's in that videos. The only thing is like you never have to fear something. Technology is good, but you don't have to overuse it. So basically, study books, but it can be used wisely, you know. But God doesn't expect us to be flawless because we're human. Even all the prophets, they were flawed people. The best of men are men at best, you know. And I'll just give you some examples. Oh, the little guy's here again. I have some good experiences. Well, okay. So one time, I forgive this lady, but professional people should be professional, you would think. I was going for training for bus driver, and I needed a career. That's what was in the training, but my trainer was very ghetto, just put it that way. And she used to talk to people really just like disrespectfully. So even though she was a trainer, I called her out when she was being disrespectful. And she said, "Yeah, I got something for you." And I didn't really think she was going to do anything about. I didn't really understand what she was talking about. Well, she had two girls come up to the job and jump me, and thank God I didn't catch the girls, because in that moment, and my anger, I could have made a great mistake, but it would have been self-defense because they pushed me so hard. They just because she was aggravated with me because she was giving me a hard time, whatever. So instead of her being professional and taking me to the side and saying, you got to be patient or something like this, she had two girls come up, her nieces or whatever, come and jump me. How ghetto is that? So I was gonna fight these girls. They were such cowards, they ran off. But the good thing is I didn't catch them because in your anger you will do something that you regret, you know. So it's a good thing that I didn't catch them because I was just, they just pushed me down. I was so aggravated with these people, So we are supposed to have self-defense. What am I supposed to be, a doormat? So I tried chasing them down. I couldn't catch them. But the good thing is I didn't because I would have made a mistake that I regretted for the rest of my life. Because in your anger, in that split second, the couple seconds, you could do stuff that normally you wouldn't do. So at that moment, I was just thinking to fight back, because it was fight or flight. So we do have to defend ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that. But I what I did is I didn't just stay at that place because I went in and it was like nobody seen what happened when all the while this lady was treating me like garbage. I'm supposed to be her student and she treated me, it was ghetto. They had two girls come up and jump me. So it was, not a nice experience. Hey Jake, how are you, homie? Isn't this beautiful? So I could have made a great mistake in that time, but it would have been justified because they came and they attacked me right there. Basically, they pushed me down and they were cowards. They ran off. But like I said, it was a good thing I didn't catch them in that moment because in your anger, your strength is a lot stronger than you think. You know what I'm saying? But uh, I had, I made mistakes and I can't relate to people who never will acknowledge if they're wrong. It's really hard to. That's why you see, like, sometimes people over edit the videos, and it's only because they don't want people to see the real truth of the video, right? Like, really what happens behind the scenes. But then you'll see bloopers, and you kind of can relate with that. So for me, I don't really edit much of my videos. Maybe I should, right? But God never expects us to be like robots. He wants us, He made us human. We have flaws, we have weaknesses. Some people prey on your weaknesses, and some people, they know it, they want to strengthen you. But your friends, they're not going to point out every single flaw of you, but make you realize that, there is stuff about you that maybe could work on. But some things we just are born with, they're just part of us. But you can use, sometimes your greatest weakness is your greatest strength. It draws people in. But there's always education we can do, but some things God just gives us, it's a thorn in the flesh. um but as far as like all them filters, it just looks so fake, you know and this world isn't artificially made. We live in a real world. So to replace it with a robot or something is not, you don't need to do that. You can have friendships, real friendships. Not everybody's gonna be our friend, right? It would just be weird if everybody liked me. But we can learn to respect each other. Even if you don't like each other, you can learn to agree to disagree, learn to respect each other, because we're not all the same. We have blood and exact thing. We all like different things. We have different likes and wants. But now, like, there's some mistakes that you'll live with for the rest of your life, and there's some that you have to find a way to lay it down. You have to go through that process of, like, godly sorrow, or really feeling sorry for what you did. But then there comes a season where it's time to lay that down and move forward in your life and just give it to God at that point. If you served a sentence, you did your time. That's all it is. And then if it's something from your past that happened, process that, but then there's got to be a time where we lay it down, and if the feelings start to come up again, you start to go through that whole process. You have to lay that, I can't tell you what to do, but you never get a breakthrough like that if you continuously live in that emotion. It can be a tool of the enemy to use against us. That's why some things of your past you don't share with everybody, because people will bring this stuff up consistently, and you get stuck in that. So it's great to share with people, but if it's gonna be a focus point for other people to continuously bring up, you'll never, won't let you forget about it. You know what I'm saying? So some things you just lay down and let it go, because everybody has stuff that they made mistakes. I'll share this with you. When you start to go into a career, okay, we all have pride, but sometimes the pride can get the best of us. It's just what it is. So, like, whatever certificate you have, the training is only the first part of it, and then you have to get into a job. Let me see who's out here. Oh, thank you, Sonal. So are you doing something else? I think it's a Sonal's Freedom. Hi, Scarlett. I'm doing good. How are you? Hi, Steph. Long time no see. How are you? I'm doing very good, Sonal. Thank you. Yesterday I was feeling terrible. I'll be honest. I was feeling very drained. Very drained. But today I feel a lot refreshed. Just, it's so beautiful out. I've seen a couple chipmunks, guys, with the little, how are you guys doing? Um, Sometimes we do need to share the mistake that we have to let it go, but some things aren't for every single person to hear. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just for you and one other person. But I'll give you this, like, if you're going into a career, you go to school, sometimes the pride gets the best of you, because now you have a certificate and we think we're like, like, oh my God, like the world is ours now, right? But God quickly humbles us. We think we know it all. But anyways, maybe that's not the case. Always stay humble, and God will quickly remind you. But I've always wanted to, like, get through the training and then get on my own. So, like, driving a truck, for example, I was doing the right thing. I still drive, but sometimes you make mistakes as a driver. But you have to think everything through, calculate each decision that you make thoroughly, and you can't think about just the money. You have to think about that, and it's hard when you're trying to put food on the table, but you could ruin your career in a matter of 2 minutes. All that time it took to get the license, and then it's a lot of responsibility. You're a professional driver, so you can't base your driving on somebody else. Just like if as a doctor, you can't base your knowledge on a patient that is your patient. You have to treat them with respect, whatever the case is. But so I'll give you this. When I started driving, my boss told me, you have to have courage to drive the truck. You can't be, wimpy. And I told him, I said, I'll be the best driver you ever had. And they were laughing because they didn't think that I was going to make it. A lot of people were saying, you're not going to go local. And I'm like, yes, I am. Because we had a company come in, but you have to take oversized lumber and all this. But I needed that because that was my only opportunity. But I did basically throw my back out anyways. So backing is always dangerous in the truck because people don't understand to slow down. They don't really care. They think when you're turning you could see them, but I did the right thing. I had to back out, and it was a decision. I didn't have a choice. I wound up pulling in the job site, and then I got kind of stuck, so now I have to back out. So I get the supervisor, and he's backing me out. At the time, a lady runs into the back of the trailer, and I was so scared out of my mind. I didn't know what happened. So I went back there. Fortunately, I had somebody backing me out, but it was a mistake. But what saved me was a supervisor. So the lady, if she would have had somebody on her passenger side, they would have been dead. That's how bad it was. She crashed into the back of the trailer, but I was doing everything right. But it was a mistake that she wound up going into the back of the trailer. But I did the right thing, but at the same time, I still felt terrible because, this lady now, her car is just destroyed. Aw, hi, Daddy. It's a little chipmunk. Hi, buddy. There he goes. There was the supervisor backing me up, and the only reason what saved me is because he was there when the police came. He told me the lady wasn't even paying attention, just ran into the trailer. But thank God she didn't have anybody in the passenger seat. But from that moment, that was like, just like God, your whole life flashes before your eyes because I really didn't know if somebody was in her passenger seat. It was just scary. You see the minivan, the windshield on the passenger side. Like I said, if she would have had somebody on the side, the lady would have been dead. And the only thing that saved me was because I had the supervisor. But if I would have made the mistake and just backed out without him there, I might have been sitting in jail. Who knows? But God saved me that day by doing that, thinking through the right thing. But it's still a mistake in a part. But the judge had mercy on me because the cop came in and stated that I was doing the right thing. So thank God for people that have, and I asked him, I said, please, my boss had asked him if he would come to court, and they just did it as like a simple ticket. It didn't cost me my whole entire career, but one mistake could sometimes cost your whole entire career. So that's why you have in your future, even if you just have a normal job, sometimes just mistakes that we make and is a really bad mistake can cost you your whole entire career. And it's a shame because in the moment at that time, you're thinking, you know, like that. But God has grace for us. This isn't a message about condemnation. This is a message for grace. And God doesn't look to burn us down with fire and stuff. He wants us to always turn to Him. And the people that always point their fingers down and they always say that they'll never do this, a fall is coming because after pride comes a fall. It's always the case. It's always been the case for me. Every time I thought everything was just going smooth, God quickly humbles me real quick. Today was very challenging. I went in this area and I didn't think anything of. I knew it was a hard area, but it took me almost 40 minutes to make one delivery because it was just so much cars. And it just shows you, like, you never can take one day for granted. It's called complacency when you think just because yesterday you had a spectacular day that today's going to be the same thing. You can't base every day on the yesterday because it's gone. But know that God is going to be there for you. He's not going to leave you. But if you feel that you can't forgive yourself or that God will never forgive you, that's not the case. God always forgives us. You come to Him and you ask Him to forgive you. And if you ask for forgiveness from somebody, apologize if you've done something wrong. And if they can't forgive you, just know that you apologize. Do a sincere apology. Not like, I'm so sorry I did that. Oh, you have to forgive me. No, if you really did something wrong, do everything you can to make it right. Like if you damaged your car to the point of no return, try to do whatever you can to help them to get it back to where it was. Because all of us are, no matter how much money you have or how little, it shows honor and respect for other people. Whatever you can do to help that person, because we do mess up. There's just, you know, but like I said, when I was at that job and those girls jumped me, it was the supervisor, the lady that's supposed to be training, who had two goons jump on me and then run away. And they all acted in the office as if they didn't see us. So there's no way I'm staying at a company like that because they don't care about me. They just, and they all turned an eye to it. So I didn't want to stay. I'm not going to stay with some people or a company that doesn't care about my well-being and my safety. And just works me like a dog and never really cares, because my job can work me 70 hours, but they don't do that to us because they know how awful you feel after the 60th hour. They just don't want to do that to you. So they know that they want to keep us they want to keep us working, but they don't want to overwork us to the point of where we're basically nothing by the end of the week. They want us to enjoy our life too, because they understand they're people. They have a life too. So they're fair like that, and they space the work out. Um, I just and a lot of times, I'm trying to think. I don't know if you guys have anything that you want to share. Hey, Scarlett, thank you for coming in. Jake, how are you, Jake? I thought there was a little duck. How pretty is that, guys? I bet you there's a lot of fish in here. I want to get a little boat. That's that boating is a little bit dangerous. When you get a boat, you got to make sure you have life jackets and all that. I'm not preaching to you, but today is actually, I would like to say a little thing for my father. Today is actually 2 years since my father passed away. My father was an engineer, was a very intelligent man, but you wouldn't be able to tell. He was very smart. He always was in business. But he taught me, he used to come all the way from Long Island to come pick us up. And we used to have a lot of fun. We used to go on the boat, and he raised us tough. You know, it's three girls. He had three girls, so he raised us like boys. But my dad really had a funny personality, but he struggled because of smoking his last couple years, but he was a good man. Everybody that knew him loved my dad. And he never looked down on people, even though he had a high position. He always made relationships with everybody, and he always was good to people, my father. And he always called me his baby girl. I was his baby girl. My sisters, I think, kind of got a little bit jealous, a little bit, but I don't know. He used to call me his baby girl, even when at 41. But because I'm the youngest out of my two sisters. But we used to ride horses. We rode horses. He raised us tough, and it's a little bit. Riding horses is a lot of work because you got to walk them out, and then sometimes the horse doesn't listen to you, and it's riding a horse is something else, and they test you. The horses test you, especially ponies. I used to get bucked off, and sometimes I didn't want to get on because I was scared to get bucked off, but they made us get back on. That's the thing with the cowgirls and the cowboys. They make you get back on whether you want to or not, because you have to face your fears. And that's one thing that it taught me. But I remember going, the first time I remember I cantered or galloped or something, my dad walked us out, and I was used to him walking with us. So he dropped the reins, and as soon as he did that, the horses take off, and I'm like, oh my God. He knew exactly what they're going to do. The horses were running home, and they were competing, my sister and me, and I'm like, I can't stop the horse. She's like, pull back. I was like, he's not doing it, because I was on, I think it was on Dallas, and man, he was going so fast, so fast. I, my dad's a piece of work, but yeah, my father was something else, and he used to take us out on the boat all the time, pack up food in the cooler, drive out to Fire Island, and then walk over. There's Sunken Meadow. You walk through, and then you get to I think it's Fire Island Beach is over there. I don't know if it's Jones Beach but Fire Island, like the Sunken Meadow. It's in Long Island, but we used to walk over there and then go to the beach and stuff, and just so beautiful. But I used to jump on my sister's back because they had horseshoe crabs in there. But today is 2 years since my father passed away. So God bless you, Dad. He was a good father, though. At least I knew him. Some people don't get to know their father at all. They don't get to meet their father. Like some people in my family that never met their family, their father, which is so hard. But God is a loving Heavenly Father. But I only cussed around my dad 2 times. The first time I got ivory soap in my mouth, and when I tell you I couldn't, it was, no, it was the green bar, uh, Irish Spring. And when I tell, no, it was ivory. When I tell you I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth, but I never cursed. I cursed 2 times around my father when I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. Got the soap in the mouth and he scraped it on my teeth. Oh, God. I was so mad. But I knew I was upset with myself as soon as I said it. My dad was like, "What?" Like on the Christmas story. And then the second time he yoked me up. He didn't never hit me or anything, but he yoked me up and let me know that that was not okay. Now I don't condone yoking up your kids or anything, but he wanted me to know that that's not okay. I never cussed. Only 2 times I cussed around my dad. Even my mom, we didn't curse around her. Um, they always give compliments to my dad and my mom when we went out, because how well behaved we were. Even though we didn't have a ton of money, we were still well behaved. But we make mistakes, and like I said, it's it's easy to point somebody's flaws out, but the real, true, genuine thing is when we look inside and we see that we have a lot of flaws ourselves, and it's okay, because this is what connects us to other people. It's not because we don't have any flaws. It never connects to people at all. I can't relate to people like that. And people boast about their situation, but if you have two-family household, a husband and a wife, compared to a single person, you can't compare yourself to the same thing the way you could do for your kids, because it's not the same thing. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. It's just a lot of people don't have two people in the household right now. That's a epidemic in families. So just because you can do more stuff for your child does not mean that you're better than somebody who is really struggling to make ends meet. You can be the help that they need. It's not your responsibility, but if you see something that you can help with, help them by all means. As parents, we make mistakes, and our kids make mistakes too. So it's a full circle for the kids to always hold the mistake against their parents, or the parents to always hold that. It's like a double-edged sword. It's, we have to learn how to say sorry and how to forgive people as well. And like the Barbie movie, I had no desire to go see because it was just kind of, I don't know. We don't live in a world like this. It's a makeup world, but you know what I'm saying? I guess for kids or whatever, but it just didn't really appeal to me with all the pink and stuff. I want to see reality, you know? Like Malcolm in the Middle, the mom kind of reminds kind of reminds me of me with my kids. Is it just give you a hard time sometimes? You just want to yell at them. Ah, oh man. But sometimes they make you laugh even when the kids are doing some stuff bad, and it's really hard sometimes not to laugh when they're doing bad, when you're trying to be serious. So sometimes you wind up laughing and they get the wrong idea, but you're always supposed to discipline. And it's so hard. Like my thing was, when I would make a thing, sometimes the punishment would be a little bit too long, so I'd wind up letting my son off a little bit early because it was just a little bit too long. But the kids, they know how to play us too. It's like, oh God, it's hard parenting. It is. But you always want to kind of show mercy if they turn around. You try to show mercy. But my thing was, if one of them was being bad, I didn't want to punish all of them, which I think is wrong. Like when they do that in the classroom and you're trying to get like a pizza party for the classroom, You have one kid cut up and then it punishes the whole classroom. I think it's wrong. Like continuous. It's not just one time. It's like, they continuously push it back and push it back. And it's like, how are you going to punish every single kid in this classroom for one kid? I think it's just wrong. So it's like, really? You're going to punish 25 kids for one student? Let the kid sit out that is being disrespectful. You don't punish 24 kids. You have 24 kids being good. You let them have the pizza party. That's wrong. It's like a general statement. It's like, if people make a mistake, I'm not responsible for your mistake. You're responsible to say sorry and to apologize and to serve whatever it is if you do something really serious. I'm not paying for your mistake that you have done, but I will be a voice, and I can encourage you to do good, but I can't pay for your mistake, you know? To say, hey, Steph, I'm from Sonal's channel. Hey, David, how are you? How you doing? Isn't this beautiful? God never, when we make mistakes and stuff like that, it's not like God holding the hammer out ready to strike us down, but there is, consequences, just like here. If we make a mistake, if we speed, a lot of time, sometimes the cops, they give you leniency, and then sometimes they give you a big ticket because you're going 25 miles over the speed limit. I just can't afford that, so I try to stay 5 miles over at the most. That's it, you know but some people, they just don't care. They just go so much over, and that's the consequence. And what it's supposed to do is kind of just say, hey, there's other people on the road, and like that. That's what it's meant to do. It's not meant to hammer you down. But just know that we're all human. We make mistakes. The best thing you could do is own it when you make a mistake, because the devil sits there at your foot. It's like the pride feeds into the pride. So what you do is apologize. If you make a mistake, just own it and say sorry, and get on with it. I know people that won't ever say sorry at all. They never think that they're wrong, and it's just like, I'm telling you exactly what it is, and they don't want to own it and say, okay, it's not even worth the argument, because you can't reason with people like that. So you just learn to agree to disagree, because obviously, they just have a pride issue. And I know there was a time in my life where my the boss points something out to you, but you don't want to be wrong. And it's like, but it humbles you when you acknowledge it. It makes it a lot easier for someone to train you. You know, I hear something over there. It's so beautiful over here. What's that song? Who says that you're perfect? Perfectly imperfect, perfectly human, perfectly human. Let's see. Who sings that song? By song. I don't know who sings it. This one. So this is by Rachel Lampa. Who said that you weren't beautiful and that you didn't belong in your own skin? Who said that you're all alone and that you're never gonna find love again? So many little words, so many little lies that have followed you all of your life. Looking for the truth, look into your eyes, and you'll see it's been there the whole time. Ooh, even when you were running, even when you were hiding, Never been a moment that you were not perfectly loved. When you barely believed it, when your eyes couldn't see it. Every single moment you've always been perfectly loved. Ooh, perfectly loved. You've always been perfectly loved. In the hands of the infinite, as the wounds of the world became his. See the kindness heaven has for you, and how he's always been drawing you in. So many open doors, so many open doors, that have followed you all of your life. Looking for the truth, look into your eyes, and you'll see it's been there the whole time. Ooh, even when you were running, even when you were hiding, never been a moment that you were not perfectly loved. When you barely believed it, when your eyes couldn't see it, every single moment you always been perfectly loved. Ooh, perfectly loved. You're not the problem. You're not the mistake. Don't need fixing or solving in the arms of his grace. You're perfectly human, made from the dust. You've got a heart broken and scarred, yet perfectly loved. Oh, even when you were running, even when you were hiding, never been a moment that you were not perfectly loved. Even you barely believed it, even your eyes couldn't see it. Every single moment you've always been perfectly loved. Ooh, perfectly loved. You've always been perfectly loved. Ooh, perfectly loved. You have always been perfectly loved. Hallelujah. Ah, oh, perfectly loved, guys. Well, God loves you with all his being. God is infinite. God is everywhere. God is omnipresent. God loves you. I know sometimes we don't feel worthy of it, and all of us feel this at times, but God loves you, and he's always calling you. This world won't ever satisfy us. That's why there is beautiful stuff here, okay? Like I'm sitting here peaceful, but your spirit always groans because this is not our final place. Heaven is our final place, but we can enjoy our lives while we're here, you know? I mean, this is just absolutely beautiful. I love the little sheep, Scarlet. Well, guys, I'm going. Thank you for all the beautiful thumbs up. And remember, Alexander Hamilton says, I never expect to see a perfect work from imperfect man. It means you can't, just know that we're all human. That's a pretty cool island over there. I'm probably going to try to get a boat. Hey, Ace Flat, how are you? Ace, Florida. I'm signing off, Ace. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to get a boat soon. A little one, a flat bottom. I can bring it right on the back of my car. And we'll start to explore these beautiful waters. Here's a little chipmunk. Hey, little buddy. I'm going to get my license, maybe. Just take some courses and get maps. I have it in me because my dad was always on boats and I grew up around boats, but you still need you still need education. It's important. And just have like basic stuff like the life jacket, but you need to know what you're doing a little bit. But thank you for coming in, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm over here. I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful, look at this. God. Look at this. So my rest in peace. Today's my dad's 2nd year that he passed away. I guess it was a young girl who passed away. His sunglasses. God rest in soul. Peace. Well, guys, you have a wonderful day. Peace out. And thank you for coming in. God bless.